Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. ONDO have gone to meet with the SEC. XRP has gone into the future. And do you want to tuck in to some fish and chips with Donald Trump? They are the headlines today. We're going to go through a lot more than that. We're going to go through some charts, prices, we're going to look at some X files, and then we're going to look at Peaky Blinders, Juventus, loads of things to cover today. We've had a few days off after the stream on Wednesday night. So we are back and we are refreshed. As you can see, we have the office background on today. Jups helps the PC run a lot faster. So on the right-hand side, we are also going to talk about Kevin flashing. Okay, now this isn't my mate Kevin, who has a few drinks down the pub and decides to drop his pants. No. This is about some Bitcoin indicators starting to flash bullish. We're going to have a look at them. We're going to see how much we think they are going to come true. We've got the Bitcoin chart as well because there's a few things that I want to talk about in the Bitcoin chart. Now, before I begin, good morning, Hidden Agendas. Good morning, Kishan. The chat seems awfully quiet this morning. Where is everybody? Say hello in chat if you are about. We are going to get on with the prices. Now, we've moved a long way since Tuesday. Okay, we streamed on Wednesday night, but we didn't really look at the charts. We've come a long way since Tuesday. We're now just under 94,000, but that is not the key number. We have a key number that we were telling you about on Monday and Tuesday. In fact, all of last week we told you about this number, and we're going to go and have a look at that on the Bitcoin chart as well. But Bitcoin coming in just under 94, Ethereum nearly $1,800. Is Ethereum back in the game? XRP still hasn't got back to $2.50. BNB back over 600. Solana. We told you when to buy Solana. $100 to $110 was the price to buy Solana. Had you have done that, you'd be up 50%. You buy when people are fearful and you sell when people are greedy. It's a very simple combination. Cardano is still below where I want it to get to, which is 80 cents. So although the markets are massively green today, just remember recency bias. We are not back where we want to be. We are not back at $100, $105, $110,000 Bitcoin. We're not at $3,000 Ethereum. We're not at $300 Solana. These are great days and enjoy them, but we aren't back yet. This is a bit of a recovery, yes, but we're not there yet. Now, some gainers. Sui is up massively. There's an X file to explain why that is happening. Stacks is up. Helium is up. We've got some news about Helium as well. ONDO back over $1, up 18% in the last 24 hours. We're going to go through why that is so important. Other good gainers that we like up there. Pith is still super cheap. It is super, super cheap. ASI, 50 cents, 40 cents a few weeks ago. Now it's back at 70 cents. It's still undervalued. It should be probably towards the end of this bull run, I think $5. I've said it all along. It's a $5 token. We're now coming in just below 70 cents. Jupiter is back at 50 cents. That's recovered quite well, but I think that's got a long way to go. So although a lot of these tokens look really good, it's still not bringing them back to where they were. Jupiter was over $1. It's 50 cents. Cardano was at $1.50. It's at 70 cents. XRP was at $3.50. It's at $2.20. So just be aware that we are where we are. And yes, it's nice to be green. And yes, if you picked up some of those coins back last week and the week before, you've done brilliantly. Take some profit. We are likely to have a retracement. Maybe not too far, but we might have a little bit of a pullback, and that would be healthy. Now then, there's not many losers. Gold is down and 4 is down. That is pretty much it. So we're going to get on with the X files because, very simply put, this is how I imagine you all look to me today. This is you all walking into the stream this morning. You've got your swag back. You're happy Bitcoin's back above $90,000, and you are a diva. This is your little swag today. That's you. That's you. Whoever you are out there, whether it be Kishan, whether it be Danny, that is your swag, Okay, that, and fair play. You are going to be in a far better position for having just seen this dip and the dip to 49,000 last year. You're going to be a lot better off going forward with these types of events behind you because they just make you stronger. Now then, Eric, the market is up again today, and why not? The core problem for bears, when push comes to shove, nobody wants to trade in Apple and Nvidia for Nestle and HSBC, and who can blame them? It creates a strong foundation that once the algos see something they like, they go up, and that is the fact. Bitcoin needs no excuse to go up, no excuse. The slightest thing will bring it up, but macro events can bring it down, not directly corresponding to Bitcoin either. You know, the events with interest rates and tariffs and all of that kind of thing, that does directly impact Bitcoin because of the flow of money and things like that. I get that. But certain things that go on around the world don't impact Bitcoin. But because it's a risk-on asset, it gets kicked and it gets kicked and it gets kicked. And you need to see through the noise. You need to see through the noise. Bitcoin is going to become the apex predator. It's fifth now. It overtook Google, I think, at the beginning of this week. So it's now the fifth highest asset in the world. You probably don't remember a year or two ago. That's your walk, Danny. Danny, where is everybody? There's nobody here. There's nobody in chat. Just remember one thing, okay? This type of post, Cardano and Ethereum. I talk about Cardano and Ethereum on here and XRP, and I know some of you give me funny looks. I know you give me funny looks. But I'm not going to back the flavor of the month or the flavor of the week. Yes, I bought a small bag of Sonic. Yes, I have small bags of some AI tokens. But fundamentally speaking, Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Cardano, Chainlink, these are not going anywhere. I know Charles said Ethereum will be dead in 10 years' time, but that's just Charles. He's got some kind of like bug. I don't know. It's making him slightly deranged. But Cardano isn't going to go anywhere. Ethereum isn't going to go anywhere, no matter how much bad press people throw at them. And it's the same with Bitcoin. I get so much grief because of the fact that we are called Crypto Warehouse. Whenever I comment on anything that's to do with economics or gold or anything like that, the first response is, your name says it all, you're crypto, you don't count, you're a degen. Okay, no, I'm not. Too old for all that nonsense. But the point of the matter is, you have to have conviction, and conviction is in solid projects, not in a fly-by-night project. This is why SUI is up. 21 shares, SUI ETF has officially registered in Delaware. This is going to be one of the things I was talking about to you guys a few days ago, which is the more I think about it, the more a World Liberty Finance portfolio or an ETF portfolio is not going to be a bad idea. I don't have it, by the way, but I do hold XRP and Ethereum and Bitcoin and Solana. I do hold the assets that are becoming ETFs. Now, did I pick the right assets knowing they were going to become ETFs? No. Did I pick the right assets based on the fact that they happen to have technology that will lead to a disruption of traditional finance, traditional business, traditional banking? Yes, I'd say so. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, or everything that's becoming an ETF. Are we seeing a sign from the men in suits that they want these tokens because they see these as the disruptive tokens? I think they do. I think that's why they're going for them. So don't discount anything that has an ETF applied to it. There will come a point where there are 500 ETFs, and at that point, you might want to give it a bit of a rest. But certainly the first ones, okay? So Jan, good morning. Jan in chat, for example. It wouldn't be a bad idea for Jan to start to invest in the ETF crypto assets because they are the ones that are in America, they're made in America, they're the ones that are probably going to continue to go up and up and up over the next 5 or 6 years. But in 2 or 3 years' time, we're going to see ETFs come out that are trash. We see trash ETFs in traditional finance. That ETFs come and go. Some ETFs get closed down if they don't get traction. We're likely to see that. If somebody makes a meme token ETF, it might last a year and then go by the by. But these first few, 10 or 12 ETFs, these are the ones that you should probably think about holding. In my humble opinion, not financial advice. Good morning, Charles. I hope you are well. Good morning to you all. It's a quiet one in chat today. I can only think people are smoking cigars and enjoying the good times now that we have a decent pump on Bitcoin. Hang on, has my sound gone off? Nope, all good. Okay, fine. Right then, just so you understand how the ETFs are doing, we've nearly had $1 billion in inflows over the last 2 days. That's amazing. If you go back, you saw some outflows, but I've been saying this, the majority of people that buy ETFs in America, they're diamond-handed because they buy them over a longer time frame. And I don't think people in crypto understand that, because people in crypto, they buy and they sell intraday, intra-week, intra-month. These people have no interest in that. They simply just want to buy and hold. Right then, a quick reminder for those of you that hold Dupe and have it staked on Jupiter, there is an active vote. It says they're active. You go and vote. Now, you see all these green ticks down here. Eventually, they will give you some more of these tokens, Dupe tokens, okay? Works out, I think, about 10% a year, something like that, you're getting Dupe tokens. So there's an active one. Make sure you vote in them all. you can hear them. Yes, you can. I should probably turn it down a bit. It's not Dire Straits. It's probably, what was that band called? Suicidal Tendencies. Probably something like that playing in the background. Right then. So go and vote if you need to vote. And then the last thing I'm going to show you, it's a Friday. We do plugs for our partners in chat. So I'm going to plug this one. This is Compounder. Now, a lot of you have been introduced to the Kronos chain. And hopefully that is partly down to us. They have a, I don't know, it's not a staking platform. It's a yield optimizer. So what you do, if you've got, for example, Crow and Moon, that's probably the best one to look at. So Crow and Moon, because I've given Moon away on this stream before. If you've got Crow and Moon, you can go and put this in here and earn 58% it is now. It was 45% APR. Now, there is impairment loss to go along with that. I'll make a video about that. I think I've made a video about that in the past. Go and check out Compounder. This started from zero 10 days ago, and $562,000 on Kronos is not a small amount of money. If this was on Solana, for example, it would more than likely be about 56 million. Probably not 560 million, but certainly about 56 million. But you've got to look at the chain. You've got to look at the amount of liquidity on the chain. And to get over $500,000 in the first 2 weeks is fantastic. So if you've got Crow, if you're on the Kronos chain, if you've got a Kronos DeFi wallet and you want to go and earn some extra yield, go and check out Compounder. And that is not a message from our sponsors. That's just a message from me. And they happen to be one of our sponsors. And I've made some videos about it as well, because I think that's pretty good. Right then, let's move on to talk about Kevin flashing. As I said before at the start of the show, this is not to do with your mate in the pub that's had a few pints and dropped his pants. This is about some signals that Kevin Svensson has seen on Bitcoin that signal that we are going to go up. Now, all I'll say about these things is every time we cover articles about bear signals and bearish signals and the price coming down, we tend to go up. And every time we cover things where we talk about bullish signals, the price tends to go down, because this is where I will agree with KB, if he's out there, is that this type of news follows the charts. This is the kind of news and the narrative that when Bitcoin is going up, you see we're going to go to $500,000 Bitcoin. We're going to see Bitcoin going to $100,000 by the end of April. By the way, I did say all-time highs by the end of April, and we're getting pretty close, but we're only $11,000, I think, $12,000 away. I might be wrong, but we might skim, we might claim it if it's the first week in May. But anyway, so these types of news articles, they follow the charts. There's different types of news. There's like a narrative which goes along with the news. Like you probably read the papers in the UK and they're all talking about Keir Starmer doing X, Y, or Z. And that's news following the events. And what we try and do on here is look at the macro things that can change in the future that will change the dynamic. I was saying a few weeks ago, I don't see a reason why Bitcoin is where it is or will stay where it is for much longer because of everything that's going on. And luckily, we are now back above where I said we needed to get above. We'll look at that in a minute. Now then, so Kevin Svensson, he's bullish on Bitcoin amid a rally of 10%. It's amazing how people are bullish after the move. They're not bullish before the move. If you want to see somebody who's bullish before the move, you watch me. If you want to see somebody bearish after the move, you watch me. Because I'm now going to give you some prices that we need to hold before I can be super happy that we take the next leg up. So Sven has told his subscribers that Bitcoin is looking bullish after the RSI indicator broke out of a downtrend on the weekly time frame. RSIs, a lot of traders, and I'm not a trader, they don't put an awful lot of stock in the RSI. There's other ways of using the RSI, and the Oracle talks about that quite a lot. And I'm not super bearish, not super bullish, but we'll see. Bitcoin has seen yet another weekly RSI breakout. This is one of the most bullish signals we've seen over the past, well, forever. Every time Bitcoin gets one of these weekly RSI downtrend breakouts, we see humongous swings to the upside. These weekly RSI breakouts are no joke. Now, we are, according to the charts, replicating 2020. If we do, then we're going to be a lot higher, a lot quicker on Bitcoin than many people think, including me. And Kevin is likely to be right. I'm just going to put that out there. If you do a count of the weekly RSI breakouts in Bitcoin's history, these runs last about 12 to 14 weeks, which lands us in July or early August. So that means we have multiple months, end of July, meaning the rest of April, May, June and July, to see the uptrend for Bitcoin. And again, that could be the case. He said over the short term, we're going to go between 91 and 96. Bitcoin has made a bullish pivot. Yep. Now then, let's show you the chart. Because like Nostradamus, Fitzy-dramus, you need to call me, I actually called pretty much to the cent the syrup price. And I called it about a week ago. And again, I'm not an expert, but I got that one right. Now, Jason was in our Telegram group. We have an OG Telegram group for people who are OGs and subscribers to the channel. And he said in there that he thinks we could go to $100,000 next week, and he could very well be right. But my biggest concern, and I said this last week, maybe even I said it on Monday, I said that we move down as quickly as we move up. And that's what Bitcoin does. Now, we dropped from, I don't know, about 98,000. We came all the way down to 78,000. We lost $20,000 in a week. That was the drop. We've now, in this similar move up, if we go all the way down here, for example, we've gone from 74. We've gone from 74 to 94. That is a $20,000 move up. And that is just what we do. That's just what Bitcoin does. We have chop where we literally do this in a range. And then every once in a while, Donald Trump opens his mouth or Donald Trump keeps his mouth closed for a week. Okay? It's just what happens. That's the narrative in the minute is Trump. In the past, it was different things. Loads of different things have gone on. But the crucial thing that I have been saying is this line here and this line here. The top and the bottom of the bull market support band. This is where I was saying we've wicked to it, we've wicked into it, we can't close. And what I said on Monday is I'd like to see us close at about 89,000 and get some kind of movement into it. We did way better than I said. We actually broke it, and we've held it now for 3 days. Now, why is that important? Because this over here happened, and this was 2 days. Okay? Now, how many times do you think we can hold it? Do you think what we're going to do is maybe do this, which is what everybody is calling for? What I don't want to see is this. Because as I've said a minute ago, we go up as fast as we come down. We go down as fast as we go up. Now, it's impossible. I'm going to use that word. It's impossible for me to have any idea what is going to happen. If we go off the premise that the news is following the charts, for example, then we go up. It's simple. We go up. And maybe we have a crack. I'll put the line in here so you know where I think we're going to go. I think somewhere in that range is about 97,000, 98,000. That's the range we're going to go to, which is that previous area here. Maybe I should just bring it down a little bit to sit in the middle of that range. I don't want to be precise about it, which is about 97,000, okay? That's the kind of zone. Now, if Donald Trump opens his mouth in the next week and says something nasty about China, then we could do this and have that retracement, okay? Recency bias is an amazing thing where you're down 50% on your portfolio, but your portfolio goes up 25%, and now you're super bullish, but you're still $30 or $40, 30 or 40% down on where you were. But this move is going to be recency bias because you're all super bullish. But look, we were here. We had everything. Bitcoin, it was the chosen one. It was the chosen one. We had everything. And then what did we do? We even had. Aye. We even had that going on. And then Trump came in. And then Trump broke all of our dreams. Ruined our dreams. And we spent months going down, and now we've completely broken out of it, and now we're going back up. So, the long and short of it is, if Trump doesn't open his mouth, we are good. If Trump doesn't speak, if Eric and Donald Trump Jr. kidnap him for a few weeks, throw him in the back of a limo, and drive him off to Mar-a-Lago and go and play golf with him for a couple of weeks and take his mobile phones off him, then we are going to go up here. And Jason's just arrived in chat. I was just talking about you, Jason. I'm sure your ears were burning. Now, do you think we're going to go to 100,000? That's what Jason's got on there. Now, I mean, what are we? We are 8% away. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's a possibility. But I think if you look at where we've just got back above, look at how much support we had there. All that support on that line. And we're doing the same thing again. So I think maybe we hold on, and then maybe we do start to move up again. Kevin, who else talks about it? Ben Cowan, they are far more knowledgeable on this because they spend way more time on looking at the charts than I do. And Ben said that we would dump into the events that have just happened on the charts, and then we would come out the other end. And we've done exactly what Ben Cowan has said. Exactly what Ben Cowan has said. And, of course, lots of other people say it as well. So we're in a good position, but just remember where we are. We're not over 100,000. We're not running at all-time highs yet. We've recovered. This, you could put all of that down to a trade war. That entire thing is the trade war, okay? So this isn't a problem with Bitcoin. It's not a problem with crypto. It's a macro event, and more macro events can come, okay? So I'm super happy. 92,500 is the line that we need to hold, okay? And if we don't, we could come all the way down to 87,000, 86,000. That's what I'm saying. Be happy. Walk like a swaggering cow. Okay, That's the thought that I want you to walk away with this stream from today. Walk like a swaggering cow. Not a drunk cow, okay? Not a drunk cow, a swaggering cow. Now then, this is the next bit of bullish news. We've got 3 massive bits of bullish news, and then the rest of the news is just me being annoyed at the world. XRP futures come out on May the 19th, expanding its crypto offerings. Now, what's important about this is not the XRP futures at all. What's important about this is Sol futures and XRP futures traditionally have to be live before the spot ETFs go live. So if we're going to see, let's say Tariq's not here, but let's say Tariq was here. I'll answer that question in 1 sec, Charles. Traditionally, you get futures before you get spot. So futures are live on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and now we have spot, Bitcoin, spot, Ethereum. We want a Solana spot ETF and an XRP spot. And the word spot simply means that if you buy $1,000 worth of BlackRock's Solana ETF, they will go and buy $1,000 of Solana. And that's the spot rate. Futures is more about the price of the token, and it doesn't involve buying the underlying asset. So they're not going to see a massive, huge pump of XRP or Cardano based on the volume through these. It will be based on the news surrounding these. So it's speculative. So this is going to happen, okay? And it's on May the 19th. Now, you've got to go forward. I think it's 4 or 6 months, but let's say it's 6 months. June, July, August, September, October, November. November the 19th will be when spot XRP goes live. Now, I think November the 24th is the all-time high. That's the blow-off top for Bitcoin, and that's when most of the alts are going to happen. So that is what I think is going to happen. 88 would be okay. Charts are calling for 88. I think 88K is going to be something that we need to look at. Now, in answer to Charles's question, Charles said, if Bitcoin goes up, does that help the rest of the tokens? Yes and no, which is the most politician answer you're ever going to get. Okay, let me go up onto the full screen for a second. Okay, so Bitcoin goes to $100,000 tomorrow. The alts will go up. Now, when Bitcoin has a period of consolidation, so let's say it stays at $100,000 for the next 2 months, you are probably going to see the alts start to move further than Bitcoin. And remember, in dollars, if Bitcoin goes to $100,000 and it moves up 10%, that's great. But if Ethereum only moves up 5 or 6%, then Bitcoin is outperforming Ethereum. So you might as well hold Bitcoin. For Ethereum to go up, it needs Bitcoin dominance to break down, which happens some point this year. And then what will happen is, if Bitcoin moves up 5%, maybe Ethereum moves up 10 or 15%. So it's more to do with the time of the market. Of course, if Bitcoin goes to $50,000 tomorrow, then every altcoin out there is going to go down 70%. If Bitcoin goes up 20%, the chances are the rest of the market will go up 10 or 15%. But some coins, maybe Sui, for example, maybe Solana, maybe even XRP, maybe Cardano, they will go up faster than Bitcoin. But as a whole, so Bitcoin versus the altcoins, Bitcoin has been outperforming everything else now for about 3 years. Had you just put all of your money into Bitcoin 2 or 3 years ago, you'd have more money today than you would have if you'd have gone and put money into every other coin. It's just outperformed everybody. And at some point, the Bitcoin dominance will break down, and then the alts will outperform Bitcoin for a very short period of time, maybe for about 4 or 5 months, maybe 3 months. So in answer to your question, Ethereum, Solana, BNB, they will all go up, but probably not as fast as Bitcoin until Bitcoin is the alpha lion. Once it's finished eating the carcass of the elephant and walks away, that's when the smaller lions can come and eat the carcass. So when Bitcoin's had its fill, it's got his little pot belly like it has, you know, those little mice in cartoons that have ate the cheese. It'll go and have a rest, and then the alts will come and eat. But Bitcoin eats first. It's the alpha lion. It's the alpha male in the pack. So I hope that answers your question. Where are we up to now? We are up to, so XRP, this is great news for XRP. May the 19th is the date it goes live. It can be 4 months, but it can be 6 months. So expect the price, in my opinion, expect the price of XRP to move up for the rest of the year from now on, in anticipation of the spot ETF. And don't forget, BlackRock and ARK Invest and all of those others, they need to actually start to buy Solana and start to buy XRP. So on the day it goes live, they already have some money in the fund. They did it with Bitcoin and they did it with Ethereum. And if you go back and have a look at the charts, you'll notice that Bitcoin's rise started in the July of the year before the January go live. Well, that's about 6 months. If you take 6 months from today forward, that's when the XRP and Solana ETF should go live. It would make perfect sense that those two tokens specifically start to move up over the next couple of months. And again, I could be wrong. I'm only trying to predict the future, which according to Elon Musk is a sign of intelligence. So if I predict it and it's wrong, you clearly know what that means about me. Now then, this is, again, massive news, and one of the reasons that ONDO is pumping today back over $1. We did the Wednesday stream on Maple Finance, which is a real-world asset project, and a few technical things went wrong, which we're fixing today. We're getting some earpieces, we're getting some additional equipment for the office, and that echo that a few of you pointed out on the stream, that should be gone for the next stream. The sound gate or the noise gate that we used didn't work on that stream, but we are sponsored by Maple Finance. We work with Maple Finance. They're a $1.2 billion project. They're not a small company. We are fairly honored to be in their presence. ONDO is a similar project. They have $1 billion TVL. They've gone to sit down with the SEC to discuss tokenized treasuries. This is a massive, massive move for ONDO, and this should not be taken lightly. Okay, now ONDO, of course, has the siding of BlackRock. BlackRock use their partner with them, and you know they're going to be the ones that push ONDO forward. But to actually get a meeting between ONDO and the SEC is absolutely massive. Normally, it's the blockchains or it's XRP and it's Ledger with the banking institutions. So for a token to go in and sit down with the SEC and discuss tokenization, it's absolutely incredible. Now, of course, I've talked to you before about this, and let's go on to main screen. Listen, it's a Friday, we can have a chat. Why is tokenization so important? Okay, now, if you're a company like Apple and you have $1 billion of cash that you don't need and you don't want to just keep in your bank won't pay you any interest on it. You've got $1 billion. Now, USDY is a product that ONDO offers, and Syrup USDC is a product that Maple offers. Now, both of them are yield-bearing stablecoins, which means that just by holding $1 of USDY, at the end of 1 year, your $1 will be worth $1.04 or $1.05. That's what it means by yield-bearing. Now, your Apple and your money is in a bank account. To get your money from that bank account into crypto to earn that yield and then get it back to your bank account at the minute is an absolute nightmare. So what Coinbase and PayPal have done yesterday, they've signed an agreement where swapping from dollars to PayPal dollars and PayPal dollars to dollars is no fee. So it will you have $1 billion and you put it in Coinbase or whatever, and they will convert that to PayPal USD immediately for you. Obviously, maybe not that amount of money, but you get the idea. Now, imagine that Apple has got its treasury, its bank, on the blockchain. On a Monday, it can deposit the money into USDY and leave it there for 6 months. And at the end of that 6 months, they will have 20 million extra dollars. Then they need the money. They're going to go and buy Microsoft, for example. They take the money out, they go straight down to their bank account, and away it goes. Or the deal is done where they buy through USDC, USDT, or they buy through PayPal USD. So this stablecoin legislation that's coming out is not just about regulating stablecoins. It's about unlocking all of the liquidity that currently sits in all of these companies. So it's a massive, massive sea change. Banks are going to struggle to keep hold of these assets, and some of them are going to go bust. And I've said to you time and time again, there are going to be crypto exchanges like Binance that become banks, like Crypto.com that becomes a bank, Coinbase becomes a bank. And guess what? Tether and Circle and ONDO and companies like that, they're all going to become banks. So it's massively, massively important that these things get ironed out. And having stablecoin legislation sounds really easy, and it's not. It's really difficult because you're going to have multiple stablecoins. You're going to have laws and regulations about how they're backed, whether it's US Treasuries, which Trump will want because it will prop up the American economy. They'll want the dollar because of the American economy. So getting ONDO in there to talk about these things is absolutely massive. So they released a statement, a memorandum on the 24th saying that ONDO met with the task force on the 24th. Nathan Orman, COO, General Counsel Mark Janoff was there. Discussion involved the Web3 firm's proposal for issuing and selling wrapped tokenized versions of publicly traded US securities. Again, I've said this before. ONDO has two products. Maple has, I think, 5 products. 2 and 5. You have other industry players who don't have that many products either. They are the very, very tip of the iceberg of what you can do. And if you think this is the big boys and they're all going to make the money, no, because all of the friction that comes with tokenization of assets throws all of that friction out of the window. Yes, you will need some KYC. Of course you will, to deal with some of the assets. But some of the assets will be on-chain via a non-custodial wallet where you will need no KYC. Okay, that reminds me, Kishan, if you're watching, I've asked about India and whether India can use Maple Finance's products, but I'll get back to you on that. So this is massive news, massive news. Do not for any second believe that ONDO has gone quiet or it's a token that's going to lose out. These people are playing a long game. They don't care if the price of ONDO is 50, 60 cents or $2 or $3. Obviously you do, and that's also important. But their long-term aim is massive, massive value appreciation in the TVL that they have. That's what's so important. Why does this now not work? Let me just see if I do that again. This was about 3 tokens that are going to be delisted from Binance. So maybe I typed it in wrong. Look at that. Wonders of modern technology. Remember, if you're in chat, say hello. So Manjeet, good morning to you, sir. I hope you are well. Say hello in chat. Let me know you're watching. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. We have an almighty hard time dealing with getting new subscribers onto our YouTube channel. It's nearly impossible at the minute because the traffic simply isn't there. The people aren't watching YouTube videos. If you're Crypto Banter, you're having a great time. If you're Ben Cowan, you're having a great time. If you've got 6 or 7 or 8,000 followers, you're not having a good time. So if you're watching on Binance, give Crypto Warehouse a follow on YouTube and do us a massive favor, okay? Massive price drops on these altcoins after Binance withdrawal support. Now, again, we were saying before about some ETFs just go out of business. They just close down. A lot of tokens that are listed on Binance won't be here in 2 or 3 years' time. You need to understand that. Not every token you buy and you hold will exist by 2030. And that's just a fact of life. The same with businesses. There are plenty of businesses that have gone bust in the last 20 or 30 years that you didn't even realize. you know, IBM, Gateway Computing. Was it Kodak or Fujifilm, whatever they're called? That they've all gone. Why? They didn't change with the time. The product didn't work properly. There's loads of things. So just be careful that you don't get married to these tokens. Now, some of these have been removed from Binance. Some are in the process of being removed from Binance. The tokens being removed are Alpaca Finance, PlayDApp, and Viberate or Viberate. And Wing Finance. Now, to be honest, I vaguely remember that Alpaca. I don't remember any of the others. The token's valuation will no longer be displayed in the user's accounts after delisting. To view their assets after trading ceases, users should ensure they have not selected hide small balances in all of their accounts. So there you go. This is going to keep happening. Don't think this is the end of the world because Binance are delisting a few tokens. You got to remember, Binance has a duty to maintain the integrity of the tokens listed. And Binance, by the way, has been given a really hard time about the performance of the tokens that have been listed on Binance. And I will defend Crypto.com. I will defend Coinbase. I will defend Binance. If you have a token that gets listed on January the 21st, all-time highs, your token gets listed. What's happened since January the 21st? We've done nothing but go down. So everything in the market goes down. You can't say, look at these tokens that Binance has listed, they've all gone down. Of course they've gone down. So is everything else. Look at Ethereum. Look at Solana. Solana was at what, nearly $300? And then we nearly broke $100. So of course the tokens go down. And it's really crappy journalism to do that to anybody, whether it be a big exchange or whether it be, one of the smaller exchanges. It's totally wrong to do that. And I think, as I said, I think it's crappy journalism. And you shouldn't do that. Listen, if we were in a market where we've done nothing but go up for the last 4 months, and Bitcoin's now at 150,000, and Solana is now at $400, and XRP is now at $4, and every single token that Binance had listed in the last 4 months had gone in the opposite direction and was down 50%, then yes, I would agree that they are pretty crap at listing tokens. But the market hasn't done that. The market has gone down. Everything's gone down. And they're new projects, which means their token will devalue faster than XRP and Solana and Ethereum. So don't read those headlines because they are BS. Okay? Now then, we're going to get on to some of the news, which I think is not really things that I am massively a fan of. Peaky Blinders TV show is to get a crypto game in 2026. Anonymous Labs, which launched the Simon's Cat meme coin, is developing a licensed blockchain game based on the hit TV show Peaky Blinders. Now then, I'll read through this before I have a rant. It's teamed up with Banijay Rights to develop a blockchain-based video game inspired by Peaky Blinders. The game, slated for release in 2026, will immerse players in Birmingham after World War I with interactive experiences, action sequences, and tokenized in-game currency. The original crime drama is inspired by the historical street gang of the same name. For those of you that don't know, I am from the UK. The Peaky Blinders existed, and there were more than just the Peaky Blinders. If you've watched Gangs of New York, they are all based on similar types of gangs. London had its own gangs, Birmingham had its own gangs, Manchester had its own gangs, New York clearly had its own gangs, you had the Mafia. So Peaky Blinders is based loosely on those characters. So they did exist, although I don't think they were quite as good looking as the cast of Peaky Blinders. No further details has been announced. Now, anything else to put down here? It's a cultural phenomenon, yes, said Banjay Rights Group Director David Christopher. The project represents a new way for fans to engage with the brand while embracing the future of digital entertainment. Now, it has been, by the way, it's got a new film coming out next year, which I think is going to coincide with this happening. Now, I'm going to spend 30 seconds telling you about this. Play the game, enjoy the game. If you like Peaky Blinders, you're going to enjoy the game because nowadays they do make pretty good types of games. If you've never seen Peaky Blinders, go and watch Peaky Blinders. Just go and watch it. It's a really good show. Now, On top of that, under no circumstances should you buy a Peaky Blinders token. You should not buy the token. If you play Telegram games, sell the tokens. If you play Star Atlas, sell the tokens. If you play any online game that has a token, you sell it. And you sell it for what you can. Every single gaming token that exists has gone down. Every single one. I am waiting for somebody to show me a gaming token that's gone up in value, because they haven't. They don't go up in value. They are an emissions-based economy. There's more and more of them every day. They get printed and printed and printed, and it goes to zero. So Peaky Blinders, great game. Great, I don't even need to see the game, I'm going to say it. Great game. Great IP, because it's Peaky Blinders. It's got the concept, it's got the artwork, it's got everything going for it. But the token, sell. Sell the token, never hold it. If you win some during the game and the price is going up, sell them all. Don't hold the token. Gaming tokens are a way to separate you from your money. They are garbage. Tether boosts Juventus stake to 10% in latest strategic buy. Now, this isn't a bad idea. Okay, Tether, am I on full screen now? Or have I managed to, there we go. Let me go back so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So, there we go. Okay, so Tether has bought 10% or now owns 10% of Juventus. Tether do more than just own football clubs. They also own gold and they also own Bitcoin. And the problem is that Tether has more money than it knows what to do with. Tether makes billions and billions and billions of dollars a year, and it doesn't know what to spend the money on. It could just keep buying Bitcoin. That would be the best thing for it to do. But it needs to make strategic purchases. Gold is a really good example of where they've done that. Now, buying into a football club like Juventus, number one, it will hold its value. Okay? They are buying probably one of the top, let's see, what are the most famous Italian football clubs? Juventus, probably AC Milan, more so than Inter Milan, and then maybe Napoli. Napoli because, of course, of Diego Maradona in the 80s. So they're probably the three biggest clubs in Italy. If they were to buy an English club of a similar stature, I would have to look at Liverpool or Man United. That's the UK equivalent or the English equivalent of the Juventus. If you go to Scotland, it's certainly Rangers or Celtic. So they're buying into a really top level brand, and it's not a bad idea. All the things they can do with that, they can take their guests to watch Juventus matches. They can have certainly first dibs on sponsoring the shirts or sponsoring the kits or whatever it might be. And I think it's a really clever move. FTX, by the way, for all of its faults, FTX did actually have plenty of really good investments. And it's just unfortunate that Sam Bankman-Fried was the way he was. But as far as I can see, this is a really good move. There isn't really anything to read about this. We believe Juventus is uniquely positioned to lead both on the field and embracing tech that can elevate fan engagement, digital experience, and financial resilience. We're excited about the opportunities ahead. I mean, one of the things we've talked about on here, what would save Sandbox? What would save Decentraland? That's the question that I would ask, and or we have asked before. One of them is a blockchain-based season ticket to your football club. Now, I don't care about naming and image rights. Don't care about any of that nonsense. I'm talking about the technology to do it. If you are, let's say you're Wrexham Football Club, and you've got 300,000 followers in America. Do you know what they do in America at the minute? They've got ceiling to floor panoramic cameras that make you feel like you're standing behind the goal in Wrexham, okay? And they're getting a few hundred people in a bar, and then there's another bar that does it. So imagine that Wrexham streamed all of its football matches via Decentraland or Sandbox. You would, in theory, have 250,000 people a game. If each one of them is paying $10, that's $2.5 million a game for you to watch Wrexham. Or Man United, for example. You might have the virtual stadium and you might get 500,000 people, 1 million people watching a Man United match. That's $10 million a game. And believe you me, your options are you watch it on your telly, you watch it in a pub, or you have a fully immersive experience with Sandbox or Decentraland where you can go into Sandbox or Decentraland. You can actually walk out onto the pitch with the players. You can then go and sit next to, what's he called? Amarim, the manager. You can listen to the substitutions being made. You can even go and hover above the pitch. A fully immersive experience like that is worth its weight in gold. And I'd pay $10 a match or $15 or $20 a match, and so would everybody else. So having somebody like Tether buy into Juventus and then get somebody like Juventus to stress test this, I think is a fantastic idea. Anyway, I've gone off on a complete tangent, but we do have time, and it is a Friday, and I am not here to do too much in the way of talking today. I'm just keeping an eye on chat, by the way. If you are here, say hello. It's really quiet today. I don't even know who's talking on Binance. I've not looked at the Binance chat yet. So, do you remember me saying that the only one of these tokens that's going to do very well is Trump token? Do you remember me telling you that? Do you remember me telling you that if you had to pick one of these meme coins that was going to do well and probably go back to somewhere near $30, it would be Trump? I said that as clear as day. I've said it multiple times. If you want to go and have fish and chips with Donald Trump, you only need $400,000 of Trump, because the top 220 Trump token holders will be invited to an exclusive dinner in Washington, D.C. That's it. That's it. That's the article. I'll make this a bit bigger so you can actually see it. That would help. So, Trump's venture into the world of cryptocurrency isn't new. Last year, he had his NFT games. I think it was actually before last year. But Trump token is a different beast. It represents a convergence of fandom, financial speculation, and political loyalty. Unlike traditional fan tokens tied to sports or entertainment, Trump combines political identity with investment potential. Extremely funny to see the SEC change its rules on meme coins to carve out non-utility meme coins as non-securities, making the president's coin fully legal, only to have Trump coin offer utility with a presidential dinner for top holders. Now, what is so important about this is not the fish and chip tea that you're going to have with Donald Trump. It's the fact that it's been timed to coincide with the token unlock. Now, I know, and you know, what Donald Trump is like. If you say that you are going to have a dinner with Donald Trump if you hold this token, what are you going to do? You are going to go and buy that token. And guess what happens to the price of Trump when you buy that token? I'm going to show you what's going to happen to that token, because I think it's important. Again, Trump has never been and will never be an angel or a saint. But the alternative was far worse. Now, if he happens to help save the American economy, help with all of the problems they've got over there, and in return, he makes a few dollars here or there, do I care? No. I did say that World Liberty Financial would be his Achilles heel. And I did say that I think in the next election, he is likely to have that used against him. And I think that's the case. Now, we're ignoring all of this because this was the pre-pump. But look at what we have done since. This is what happens when you announce a dinner with Donald Trump. You get that huge wick. Now, if something else happens, I guarantee you it's going to do that. And suddenly, we're back at $18. And down here, you can bet your bottom dollar there were insiders in Trump's team buying at $7. And I can guarantee those insiders that bought at $7 sold at $14 or $15. So they've made 100% return on their money. Look at that. That green wick is you buying. That red wick is them selling. So they are literally selling into you because you want to go and have fish and chips with Donald Trump. Now, it's only back to where it was 3-4 weeks ago. And I have said, and I stick by this, I think this is the only coin that's going to go back to somewhere. Actually, maybe it wasn't $30. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's about $22. But I certainly think, I think it's about there. $28. I think it's going to go back there. It's $13. I don't hold any. I am never going to buy any. I don't like fish and chips, American fish and chips, so I'm not going to be going and eating them. But believe you me, that is not the last time this coin will pump. So you can go, if you've got your $400,000, maybe Kishan can go and meet Mr. Trump and ask him for an autograph that we can give away on our channel. So it's not a publicity stunt. Of course it's not. Because you say it's not a publicity stunt, it doesn't mean it's not a publicity stunt. Of course it is. It's just all words. It's all words, you know. It boosts demand and incentivizes holding. It's not unlike recently moved by me. Yeah, it's absolute nonsense. So crypto rank, I've said 395,000. The cost to enter the top 220 holders for a dinner with Trump. He recently announced that will be eligible to register for a Trump dinner with the president. As of now, you need to hold 32,000 tokens. I wish it wouldn't do that. Well, there you go. So, I don't know about you. But I wouldn't go out. Kishan says no. I wouldn't go out just to buy Trump tokens to go and have a meal with Donald Trump. Now, I'm just going to close down the browser so this works a little bit better. There we go. Fantastic. Now, so that is the end of the stream. It's a Friday. Remember, we try and do a relaxed show on a Friday. The way it's going to go next week is that we will be streaming as normal Monday and Tuesday next week. Wednesday night on Binance, we have another Mew night. Mew is another one of the channel sponsors. We'll be giving away some Mew tokens on the night. We'll be talking about all things Mew, talking about the charts, talking about the new things they've been done. It's next Wednesday night, 7 p.m. So I will be streaming next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 11 o'clock. Wednesday at 7 p.m. And the Oracle will probably be streaming. Oh, no. Monday is a bank holiday. So the Oracle and myself will be streaming on Monday from the office. That's why the Oracle isn't here today. Normally, there's two of us on this stream, the Oracle and me. But because we're going to be streaming on Monday, he might do a trading show tonight. So you might be able to come and join him in about 5 or 6 hours' time. So that is pretty much it. I'm going to go through chat. It's been so quiet today. I don't know where everybody is. I generally don't. I just assumed it was to do with maybe everybody's got out buying Teslas. Kishan has said, I prefer the UK than USA. I do, but I think the UK's got a lot of social problems at the minute that need fixing, and I don't think the Prime Minister is the man for the job, in all honesty. I think we need a different leader. I'm not saying we go down the Nigel Farage route. I think we need a different leader. I don't think he's very strong. I think he's very weak. So the UK has its own problems. Australia has its own problems. Canada has a new election. Germany's had elections. There's a lot of change in the world at the minute. The World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, has stepped down, and the man who they've put in charge is no better. The man they've put in charge is from Nestle, who said, I remember him saying something like, water isn't a human right. I think he said something like that years ago. But he's now the new head of the World Economic Forum. So there's a lot of upheaval going on. And sometimes there's more upheaval than other times. And I think we're going through, since COVID, for the last 4 years, we seem to have had more upheaval than we had in a long time. I don't remember 2002, 2003, 2004. I don't remember it being anywhere near as bad as this. I don't remember the 1990s being so bad as this. We've always had, we've had the 2008 financial crash, but that was more of a one-off. I'm trying for 1 hour to bridge ETH so I can buy Pride. I am a rookie. I can probably send you some tokens to go and do it. So I can. The best thing to do would be to buy Crow and then send the Crow to your DeFi wallet. That's what I would do. And by the way, that trading competition, that's going to expire at midnight. There's 3 prizes, and I have a funny feeling that all 3 of them are going to be OGs. I think Danny, Kabir, and if Jason manages to do it, Jason will win. I think there's going to be 3 winners, and I think all 3 of them are going to be OGs. So I'm very happy about that. Anyway, I think I have overtalked. It's gone 12 o'clock. If you've got any problems, Jason, message me in Telegram. For those of you, actually, there is probably one thing I should bring up before we go. If you have not done so, can you all do me a favor and go over to this place here? Let me bring it up. Right. The stream's got a lot better with the virtual background turned off today. The PC feels a lot faster without that virtual background on. Right then, that is our YouTube channel. We are live on that YouTube channel. Please feel free to go over there and subscribe. All we are called is Crypto Warehouse. We have made, in the last few years, 1,200 videos. Okay, we are live now. As you can see, 51 people watching. We're live now. We make videos about everything. We've got OG videos. If you want to be a subscriber and actually pay to support the channel, you can become an OG. I think it's like $2 or $3 a month. Otherwise, we make normal videos. We've got a video about Maple. We've got one about Crypto.com, Pride, Compounder, scams. We cover it all. So please make sure to go and check us out. And that is it. I'm going to make some videos now. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. You, as always, have been great. I have been Mike. Until Monday, adios.